Well, here we are. Yep, that's right, we have the Pixel 4a finally in hand. It was already announced, and yes, I know there are quite a few videos already out about it, but you know what? My journey with this phone is still going to be documented. I am doing my unboxing and top 5 concerns on this, and if you want to keep up with the rest of my coverage of the Pixel 4a, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down below. You know where it is. In any case, we're going to get started on this unboxing. This is going to be really simple. After all, the box is actually almost surprisingly small, and I'm not expecting there to be too many accessories in here, but I will say, the phone, it's meant to be kind of small, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. One thing I do like is Google's packaging. They make things quite simple. I'll clean that up later. Look at that. I can see the design language hasn't necessarily changed from previous Pixel devices, and of course, this one was leaked all to hell, so we pretty much knew what we were getting into here. But still, looking at this, black color, there's only one size, at least until the Pixel 4a 5G comes out. But for now, we have this one. Also, that accented color over on the power button is the, I don't know which color this is supposed to be, but it's definitely not that orange from the Pixel 4. I'm trying to remember what the color name for this would be. In any case, we're actually going to just put this over on the side for a second while we take a look at the other accessories. And actually, this might be a good time for me to talk about my first concern. And you're already going to start seeing some B-roll of the device just so I can make this video a little bit more dynamic. The first thing I'm a little bit worried about is that the screen won't be quite as, let's say, refreshing. 2019 up until now has been pretty exciting because we've been getting a bunch of really cool features in flagship smartphones, one of which is high refresh rate screens. Now, the thing is, this is a budget device, I get it. It's not going to have a high-end, let's say Quad HD, even 4K. We have 4K screens these days. It's going to be probably Full HD, if I remember correctly, but definitely not 90 or 120 Hertz. But it's still something that I'm just a little bit concerned about. Maybe I will actually feel that little bit of envy for phones that happen to be more than twice the price of this one. Of course, we're going to have the SIMs here, but what I might actually do with this phone is get it set up with eSIM for my Google Fi. And then there they are. There's actually still a bevy of accessories available with this device. Always nice to have a free little adapter in here. You can't have too many of these sometimes. You know, they make the text so hard to read on these things sometimes. I just want to confirm what the wattage is supposed to be. The Pixel 4a is supposed to take 18 watt charging, but that brings me to one of the other concerns. And again, this is something that is par for the course for a budget device. You might have some missing features. As I look at the USB-C to C cable here, I will actually start off this concern by saying that the Pixel 4a actually has a few things that we really wanted in previous Pixel devices. There's no adapter in here for a headphone jack because the phone already has one. And then you have plenty of storage and plenty of RAM, 6 GB and 128 GB of onboard storage. Honestly, the only thing that might be really missing on this phone is wireless charging, and that's only because we're all working from home right now, and wireless charging at a desk is actually really convenient, especially since, well, we're not really going anywhere these days. Alright, so that should pretty much do it for the box contents. We have basically everything ready to go. Let's go ahead and just peel back that plastic and savor the peelies a little bit. One thing that I just noticed as I was doing that is that the fingerprint reader is the same material as the rest of this matted backing. I like that. So you have a flat screen here, there are no curves on it. The curve is of course relegated to the back, and this is a smaller phone overall, so of course handling is going to be really easy on this. One-handed usage, just like with the Pixel 3a, which you know I love. Well, we're gonna get the same type of experience here. I'm gonna go ahead and power this thing up while we talk about the next thing about this phone, and that will be performance. I don't think there are gonna be that many performance losses on here, but again, there have been a lot of phones that have been coming out recently with the right specs. Far be it for me to think that a $350 phone would have the 765G. Obviously, we're going to get something a little bit lower than that. This is a very affordable device after all, and what we get is the Snapdragon 730G. Now, I'm not expecting that everyday usage is going to get hindered because of that spec. Perhaps I'm going to feel a little bit of a change in terms of everyday performance, especially when gaming, but we'll see what happens with my full review and all of my coverage coming up soon. This will be good. I'm gonna go ahead and just get this phone as my daily driver. Let's go ahead and jump into it with Google Fi. Yeah, the texture of the fingerprint reader is literally the same as the rest of the backing, which makes it feel much more seamless. So what you're just looking for is just that little bit of a dip back there. I am really happy that the fingerprint reader is on here because this is still a natural way of unlocking a device. Your finger just naturally lands right in this area, so it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you saw that, but it tried to have the buttons, the original Android navigation buttons there for a second, but then it went to the swipes. There might be a little bit of bezel around the screen, but there's really not that much, especially since the phone is pretty easy to handle, really easy to handle, honestly. You can really forgive that because it's not taking up too much more of the screen real estate. What you have up here is just a single hole punch or punch hole camera, and it's very nestled in the corner, which actually leads me to the next concern, and it's going to be the same one that I had with the Pixel 3a. Singularity. Okay, singularity in the sense that you only get one camera on the rear and one camera on the front. And again, this is one of those things that you might get spoiled by even in other phones that are around the same price point but manage to have multiple lenses like an ultra wide or a zoom. With the Pixel, you're getting one, but it is one of the most powerful and most reliable ones because of that Google algorithmic processing happening in the background. I will point you to a video that I'll probably redo for the Pixel 4a actually, where I used things like moment lenses and cases and other clip-on lenses in order to extend the capabilities of the Pixel 3a. I'll probably put those lenses on this phone as well in order to get those kinds of shots that I want, both for photo and video. You know what, on the topic of video, why don't I just go ahead and jump right into the camera real quick, and let's see, bring it to the front. Okay, so it does seem like the front-facing camera is only going to have 1080p resolution. So yeah, spoiler alert, one of my complaints later on with my final video on this phone is going to be that there's no 4K on the front. I know that I always talk about that and it is a premium feature for the most part, but still, it would be nice to see it more often. And there you go, Google Fi is now downloading my eSIM, which is yet another feature on here that is a little bit overachieving, and it's very useful to have that because when I was traveling a lot last year with the Pixel 3a, it was easy to get my eSIM downloaded as long as I was on some sort of Wi-Fi, like the airport Wi-Fi, and then once I just went through this particular process, I was able to get my data back and be able to use it during my trips. Which leads me to my final concern, and honestly this has really less to do with the phone and more to do with the times we're in right now, unfortunately, and that's that this phone may not be quite as memorable. It'll be more like memorabilia of 2020. I'm just gonna plug a video real quick that I did over at Pocket Now. It was the After the Buzz for the Pixel 3a, and one of the reasons why that phone really stuck with me and why I loved it so much even until today is because it went with me around the world and was able to get me so many awesome memories, and I still look at them in Google Photos. Even with my concerns and ultimate complaints with this phone, just like with the Pixel 3a, I'm sure that this phone will be a great companion not only for everyday life but also for travel. But unfortunately, we're not traveling a whole lot anymore. I'm worried that I won't be able to give this phone a proper shake with all of the different situations that the Pixels of before were afforded. Because a lot of the features that are in this phone actually make sense for the type of person who wants to save a little bit of money and put the rest of that into things like their trips. For example, headphone jack, pretty nice for travel, 128 gigabytes of onboard storage so you don't have to rely on Google Photos uploading all of your content, that way you save space on the phone. You can have pretty much a lot of it stored on here for a long time. And of course, like I said at the beginning of this segment, the Google Fi eSIM. I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's unfortunate for Google that this phone came out when it did, that 2020 is the year that it is right now, because all of the best parts of a Pixel phone, even the budget Pixels like the 3a and now the 4a, well, we can't really take full advantage of them because we're all just, well, stuck at home. That doesn't change the fact that I'm really excited to get at this device and bring you all of my content on it, really see what it's like as a general everyday phone, but also as a general everyday camera phone with overachieving results just like Pixels are known to give. You did just see a few examples of the picture quality coming from this phone, so let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. I just got some pictures around the general vicinity. If you're excited for the Pixel 4a, make sure you drop some likes on this video, and then subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can keep up with all of my coverage on Google's latest budget phone. With all that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other, and until my next video, I would just remind you to enjoy your tea, everybody.